Good morning and welcome, students, faculty, families and friends, and a very special welcome to our School of Journalism graduating seniors. We are here today to celebrate a milestone achievement in your lives, the end of a journey lasting 4 years, 5 years, perhaps 6, maybe 7. Always somebody from the crowd. To quote the Beatles, it's been a long and winding road. Or the late Jerry Garcia, what a long, strange trip it's been. Today we celebrate your success in facing and meeting the many challenges of college life. We celebrate your triumph over caffeine-fueled all-nighters, too little sleep, too much anxiety, too much pizza, too many pepperoni rolls, hangovers, homesickness, heartaches, and heartbreak. We celebrate your passage from teenagers to young adults. We also celebrate the people who helped get you to this point, your parents, your grandparents, and other family members who have supported you, encouraged you, and paved the way for your success. And I'd like to take a moment now and please ask the parents in the audience to stand so we can congratulate you. All our graduates know what you've done for them. Today we also celebrate the School of Journalism faculty who guided you, pushed you, praised you, sometimes yelled at you, but who in the end taught you how to be responsible and committed media professionals. Your success is also their success. And I'd like to ask our faculty to please stand as well so we can acknowledge them. Today we celebrate your past achievements and we celebrate your future as we launch you into the real world, the world of getting a job, moving out on your own, doing your own laundry, and paying back your college loans. There's no doubt that all of you are leaving college during a particularly challenging time. I don't need to tell you that the economy is still in pretty rough shape, and these are perhaps not the easiest times to be looking for your first job. You're also entering a professional environment that is in flux. Newspapers are literally shrinking, both in size and stature, as they try to figure out how to recapture lost readers and revenue. Broadcast television is moving away from the 6 p.m. newscast to a news-on-demand model. And advertising and public relations professionals are also trying to figure out the best ways to reach an audience in this fragmented digital world. So there is a lot ahead that is uncertain and unknown. But I'm going to tell you something that I really believe, and that is, even in this tough climate, especially in this tough climate, you all are going to do just fine. As P.I. Reed School of Journalism graduates, you have nothing to fear. You are multi-skilled and multi-talented. You have the education and the training to adapt to a variety of situations. Your degree has value. These are challenging times, yes, but these are also exciting times, full of endless possibility and endless promise. During tough times, people turn to the media more than ever, looking for information, explanation, and hope. And you will be called upon, as journalists and communicators, to help the public determine what is real and what is relevant to their lives. You will do that by reporting and producing the news across media platforms, and by crafting commercial messages and PR campaigns that impact behavior and values. And you will do so with integrity, with heart, and a great sense of purpose. How do we know that? We know that because we know you. Based on our time together, we know that you have the skills, the intelligence, and the ability to adapt, to excel at whatever profession you choose. We are confident that each of you sitting here today will make your mark, and in the process, you will make the world a better place. Now, our speaker today is a woman who was once sitting where you are, facing a similar kind of job market. Jennifer Manton is a 1991 alumna of the School of Journalism, and like you, she graduated during tough times. Now, I'm not going to steal her thunder. I want her to tell you about her story and about her challenges and about her later successes. But what I will say to you is that her story is one that will encourage and inspire you. A former public relations major from Pittsburgh, Manton has formed a very successful career in the growing field of professional services marketing. Currently, she serves as Chief Marketing Officer for Loeb Loeb, a large national law firm with offices in New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Nashville. In her current job, Manton manages the firm's branding and marketing strategy, including media relations, advertising, and online marketing efforts, as well as internal and external communications for the firm. She has more than 17 years of experience in her field. Now, before focusing on the legal industry, Manton developed her marketing expertise working for accounting firms. In fact, she started as a temp at an accounting firm where she was first exposed to this growing field. And the rest, as they say, is history. She is nationally recognized for her expertise in professional services marketing. She is a frequent public speaker, published writer, and she has been widely quoted herself. She also currently serves as the president of the National Legal Marketing Association. And I'll tell you what, she's also a very nice person who came by her success the hard way. I am pleased and honored to welcome back to the School of Journalism and WVU 1991 School of Journalism graduate, Ms. Jennifer Manton.
Thank you and good morning. Congratulations to you. This is a momentous and exciting day for you, and you worked very hard to be here, and I am proud of you, and you should be very proud of yourselves. I want to thank Dean Reed for the invitation to address you today. I am truly humbled and honored to be here. And this morning I'm pleased to share with you my career path in the 17 years since I left WVU and I left the School of Journalism. I too was a December graduate, January or December 1991. But before I start and talk to you about my path here today, I was reminded by a speech that the former governor of California, Gray Davis, gave last spring to the Fordham Law School graduates. The governor is probably more famous than most as an ex-governor because he was recalled by the people of California 2 years into his term. The energy crisis of California and Enron was to blame for his poor approval ratings. But I now have the great pleasure and privilege of working with the governor at my law firm. And so I wanted to share his introduction to the convocation speech he gave at Fordham. When addressing the law school graduates, he recalled his own graduating class. The A students, he said, went on to be Supreme Court justices. The B students went on to big law firms. And the C students, well, they went into politics. In my case, as a good student here at the School of Journalism, and we don't need to get into GPAs, I went on to a career of promoting, branding, and selling the services and expertise of those law students who went on to big law. Never in a million years did I see myself here. I didn't even know lawyers needed PR and marketing people, but thankfully they did. And today, me, along with a team of 6, are responsible for branding and positioning a large law firm, as well as growing and developing business from the firm's current and prospective clients. This is accomplished through a variety of means, including employing PR and media tactics, online advertising, print advertising, leveraging social media, using sponsorships and events, as well as email marketing. In addition, I oversee all the firm's communications, specifically writing and producing the firm's collateral materials, such as brochures, our annual review, and of course the website. Basically, I employ integrated marketing and communication strategies. I'm a legal marketing professional, or as my title reads, Chief Marketing Officer, CMO for short, and my School of Journalism education laid a strong foundation for the work that I do today. And so how did I get here? I grew up in a suburb of Pittsburgh and for the most part was raised by a single mom. My parents divorced when I was in elementary school. My mom didn't have a college education, but she worked very hard to provide for me and my sister. This meant driving a school bus, and later when the opportunity presented itself, she went to night school to get a certification to become a swimming pool operator. She led by example, and from the earliest time I can remember, she only had one thing on her mind, that my sister, a Penn State grad, and I would go to college. She was relentless in her mission. I recall one day getting in trouble for the umpteenth time for not doing my housework. She said to me, "Jennifer, what are you going to do when you grow up and you have to keep your own house?" And I looked at her and I said, "I'm going to get a housekeeper." She said, "Well, go to college, get a good job, and you can probably afford to have a housekeeper." Her message was always the same. A college degree would earn me the success that I needed to do well in life. And I stand by that credo today. I had all of my life planned out growing up. I was going to be a newscaster. I was going to live in New York City. As you know from my bio, half of that came true. And so some of you might ask, why not go the broadcast news path as a School of Journalism graduate? Why didn't I end up there? The decision to go the PR route was made one day after talking with one of my advisors about career prospects. I learned then that going into broadcast news likely meant I would, upon graduation, have to relocate to a very small market. Altoona, Pennsylvania came to mind, where I would write, edit, produce my own reports, probably during the late night shift, and the starting salary would be about $14,000. In that instant, I knew PR was the path for me. I chose PR because writing was my strength, and I also wanted to be in a corporate environment and that big starting salary that might afford me the housekeeper. I was so sure the road to success was going to be faster and smoother with a specialization in PR. But of course, there's no easy road to success. Hard work and paying your dues is the only way to get there. When I entered the job market, as Dean Reed said, it was early in 1992, and the economy and the job forecast looked a lot like it did today. It was very bleak. There weren't any entry-level jobs for PR people in Pittsburgh. Graduate school wasn't an option for me financially, and neither was taking any old job. So settling back into my mom's and being faced with student loans, I turned to temping. Temping at least meant I would be in a corporate setting, probably in downtown Pittsburgh, and I could dress up every day. These were all important factors, especially the dressing up part. On my second assignment, I went to a small accounting firm, and pretty much right off the bat, I realized that the head partner, who was the named and founding partner's daughter, was going to be difficult to please. Everyone there seemed to walk on eggshells, and the atmosphere was nearly always tense. Notwithstanding, I persevered, I did my best, and I was offered a full-time position as an administrative assistant with benefits, very important, paying $17,000 a year. I had no other option but to accept it. 2 long and often painful years went by before I could leverage my experience there and move to another position. Along the way, though, I was learning what it took to market a professional services firm and what the partners had to do to build and maintain a client base. I just didn't know that then. I was busy taking messages, making coffee, cleaning spots off the carpet, buying supplies, running errands. And I was also learning some useful things too, like negotiating vendor contracts, doing basic accounting, managing her charitable and professional activities. I also had the opportunity to write the internal newsletter, produce a client newsletter, and build a database that housed our client information. All these things have proved very, very useful and gave me tangible hands-on experience to pave my professional path. Perhaps, though, the most impactful lesson was learning how to deal with a difficult personality, and these are plentiful in the corporate world. My favorite story is the time she came running and screaming from the conference room because I had forgotten to sharpen the pencils. This was typical behavior. You never knew what she might throw at you. The lesson I learned that day was stock all conference rooms with mechanical pencils. They never need to be sharpened. At the accounting firm, I had been looking for my next job nearly as soon as I started that one. But I didn't have a network of family friends who were professionals who could refer me. I didn't know anyone who could put a good word in for me at the country club, so to speak. So I used what I knew, the Sunday jobs section of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And there, finally, one day, was a job listing that I was qualified for. The position was for a marketing coordinator in a large regional accounting firm based in Pittsburgh. Hallelujah. My well-written resume and cover letter, printed on quality paper with the watermark right side up, just like the experts say to do, stood out, and I landed an interview with the firm's marketing director. Her name was Lois. Lois herself recently joined the firm after running her own PR shop, and so her and I instantly hit it off. My first interview lasted 2 hours. My ambition to be a PR professional and my School of Journalism education, along with my real-world experience in another accounting firm, got me the job. My first few months, though, were a character-building experience. Unfortunately, Lois was fired about 6 weeks after I arrived. She went on a 2-week vacation, and upon her return, she called me into her office for what I thought was going to be a debrief session. Instead, she informed me that she had just been let go. So as I stood there with my mouth hanging open, there was a knock at the door. It was the managing partner's secretary, telling me that the managing partner would like to see me in his office. Well, you can imagine what I was thinking. Thankfully, I was told I still had a job. I'd made a good first impression. They would be recruiting for her replacement, but in the meantime, I would be reporting directly to a partner who oversaw marketing. I was petrified, but at the same time, I felt exhilarated. I was called back again to the managing partner's office a few weeks later. This time, he passed a letter to me across his desk. It was from a law firm representing my former employer, and it was instructing my new firm to fire me immediately for violation of a non-compete agreement. Apparently, when she hired me, I had signed a contract that prohibited me from working for a competitor within a 150-mile radius. This is very important, graduates. Please do not sign anything when you accept your job without a lawyer reading it first. My managing partner told me that the non-compete was likely unenforceable given my age, and that I should call a marketing director at a law firm in town that he knew. I was to ask her the name of a lawyer who could represent me. The marketing director was named Jean, and she did refer me to someone, and the firm and the non-compete was deemed unenforceable. But Jean also invited me to lunch, and this is significant because it was Jean who first told me about the legal marketing profession and about an organization called the Legal Marketing Association, which is the dean told you I'm now the president of, and it was a professional organization that provides educational and networking opportunities for professionals in the legal marketing. You'll hear a lot about the LMA here today and how it's played a big role in my career. In the months that followed, I worked diligently and often autonomously at the accounting firm. I'd been given the opportunity to attend a marketing conference along with some of the firm's partners, and I was soaking up all that I could. It was the first time I can remember in my career waking up with a smile on my face and racing to get to the office. My honeymoon didn't last long, though. There was a knock at my cubicle one day, 9 months into my tenure at the firm and 7 months after working, for the most part, on my own. There in front of me stood Cindy, the firm's first marketing director, who had left for Chicago a year earlier. But Cindy was coming back to Pittsburgh, and she was coming back to the firm. I'll save you the drama of the next few months, but they were stressful. My day-to-day work rhythm had changed. Cindy wanted control over all aspects, and I pushed back a lot. Things came to a head one day, and shortly thereafter, she called me into her office and told me she had found a win-win solution for us both. She asked me if she could refer me to a law firm who was looking to hire their first ever marketing manager. And so you know what my answer was. And so with the experience I had gleaned from marketing accountants and a baseline knowledge of legal marketing, thanks to my now new good friend Jean, I interviewed and landed the job. It was June of 1995, 3 years after graduation. My path was becoming clearer, and I have never forgotten how instrumental Cindy was in steering me to it. She was just one of my many conductors. More on that later. I spent the next 3.5 years in the role of marketing manager for a 50-attorney firm, one office in Pittsburgh. Putting my current position aside, it was truly the best job I ever had. It too came with this challenge, of course, including the fact that my boss, the firm's COO, was let go about a year into my tenure at the firm. And upon being told, I recall the managing partner of the firm saying something to me along the lines of, "What is it you do exactly?" These are not words you want to hear from the person paying your salary. After explaining it to him, from that day forward, I made it a point to share on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever the frequency needed basis, a report with firm management outlining what I was doing. And as I have learned over the years, reporting on how you and what you do adds value to the bottom line is what keeps you gainfully employed. The firm decided not to replace the COO, which meant I would be reporting to the marketing committee. Realizing they didn't know what I should be doing, not specifically anyway, it was up to me to define my own role in marketing. I relied heavily on my experience at the accounting firm. I had my PR book from college that I relied heavily on to write my first news releases. And with the resources of the Legal Marketing Association, I had access to white papers and books, and I was able to attend more marketing conferences, which thankfully opened my eyes to the wonderful reality that there were hundreds of people in this country doing legal marketing, and they could relate to my job. My role was diverse, but writing and PR was central to it. On the job, I coordinated with an outside PR firm on writing press releases, pitching the media, writing ad copy for 30-second commercial spots we did on public radio. I learned how to structure media buys. I worked with a design firm on the firm's branding campaign, developed new marketing materials. I loved every aspect of my job. It was very diverse, and no day was ever the same. And it was a unique time, And I realize that you probably can't imagine a world without it, but it was the dawn of the internet, and it changed everything. I recall the day we got email accounts. I remember going to a seminar to learn about this thing called the World Wide Web. I joined my first online community, a listserv of other legal marketing professionals from around the country, and I built the firm's first website. At some point in the midst of my euphoria, I realized that I was onto something here. This was more than just a job. The more I read, networked, got involved with the Legal Marketing Association, the more I realized that I was developing a career path, and there were lots of opportunities, and there was potential to make some really good money, and maybe just get that housekeeper. So I pursued it, and I pursued it hard. I founded the Pittsburgh chapter of the Legal Marketing Association with my old friend Jean in 1997. And in 98, at the LMA annual conference, I met my husband-to-be, and thanks to my now 2-year young email account, began a long-distance relationship. He was a legal marketer like me, but he lived in London. It was further blending of my professional and personal lives, and the LMA was its conductor. And as the long-distance relationship progressed, New York was appearing on the horizon. If our relationship was to progress, Pittsburgh wasn't a big enough market to support 2 people in the same field. And besides, I had always lived to live in New York, and this was my chance, but I needed a plan to get there. As if she was reading my mind, the phone rang shortly after, and it was Cindy. She had just interviewed for a marketing director position at another firm in town, a bigger one with multiple offices up and down the East Coast. And she said it wasn't right for her, but she thought of me. Maybe it was fate, or maybe it was just serendipity, but it was the right platform for me to be able to position myself for a job in the Big Apple. She referred me to the firm, I interviewed, and on May 31st, 1999, I wrote a heartfelt and grateful resignation letter to my current employer. On May 31st, 2000, I arrived at LaGuardia Airport 2 years to the day. Getting there wasn't as direct as that, though, but because I was told I only have 20 minutes, I'll spare you all of those details, including my mother's fight with cancer and the year I spent splitting my time between Pittsburgh and San Francisco. But at long last, I made it. Here I was, 31, in Manhattan, a newlywed with a good job. I was ready for stability in both my personal and professional lives. And for the most part, I had it. And I also got a housekeeper. Well, actually, I got someone to clean my apartment every Wednesday, but you get the drift. There, of course, was the obligatory element to my new position, which was a senior marketing manager at a large national law firm, the firing of my boss, the firm's CMO. I was promoted into her position overseeing the firm's integrated marketing and communications efforts, but because of my age and experience level, given a lesser title. I continued to learn a lot on the job. This was, after all, the big leagues. And so in addition to building on all the core areas of the position I talked about earlier, I was also learning a great deal about the treacherous world of internal politics and the steep prices many can pay if they get caught in the crossfire. During this time, I was also concentrating on building my reputation in the industry, and again, I leveraged the Legal Marketing Association to do so. I was elected to the board of directors of the New York chapter shortly after arriving in New York, and once again, LMA continued to enhance my personal life. My best friend is here with me today. We met serving on the board of directors of that chapter. LMA also led to writing and speaking opportunities. These were good, not only as resume builders, but as confidence and credibility builders as well. And the speaking engagements began to position me as an expert in the industry. In early 2005, with nearly 5 years under my belt, I had a career-defining moment. Management changes were again afoot. The third new chairman in 5 years was about to be elected by a partnership, and it was a very fractured partnership. Rumors were abound for months and months that there would be big changes in the non-lawyer management team. I had never been successful in building a relationship with the chairman-to-be, and I was very vulnerable, as was my boss, who was also on the outside looking in, and I knew she could offer no support. When I had my review that January and was told there would be a nominal bonus and no raise, I took matters into my own hands. I asked to be fired. Now, I know you're probably asking yourself, why not go quietly about finding a new job and just leave? Because I knew I had leverage. To be fired meant a severance package, but waiting for the axe to fall would be excruciating. So structuring my own exit strategy meant likely getting more than the customary 3-month salary for my position. And I also wanted the time to carefully look for my new law firm. It was one of the bravest things that I ever did. And in hindsight, taking control of the situation was really the only thing I knew how to do. That day, I was my own conductor. Standing here today, I have been living and working in New York for nearly a decade, and now have almost 5 years clocked at my current firm. And I'm happy to report that my boss wasn't fired. I have had tremendous support, continuity in firm strategy and in firm management, and that all has provided me with a stable professional home where I continue to learn and grow today. And so 17 years postgraduate now, and I'm very content with my career. Thank you to the School of Journalism. Thank you to all of my professors who helped prepare me. And thank you for my mom for helping me get to WVU. It is because of my mom that I accepted Dean Reed's invitation today. I did so to honor her. I lost my mom last year after a long battle with cancer. And if not for her strength, encouragement, discipline, and knowledge that college was the only way to ensure that my life would be better than hers, I wouldn't be here today. She is, and even in death, continues to be my most prized conductor. And so I told you I would come back and explain about the conductor. You've heard me reference many in my talk this morning, like Cindy and Jean, the LMA, and my mom, of course. But there are probably many that I haven't mentioned. I had the privilege to hear Maya Angelou speak at the LMA annual conference a few years ago. And in her address, she told stories of her life. And in each story, there was a person who in some way had made a significant impact on her life's journey. These people influenced her choices, her path, both personally and professionally. And of course, at the same time, she had no idea the role they were playing. She called these people conductors. Just like a conductor leads a symphony orchestra, there are people in your life that lead you on your life's journey. I found this profound. And as I recalled my path to this podium today, the conductors were lined up all along the way. So while you are the only person who is ultimately responsible for your success, however you define that success, at the same time there will be many conductors in your life. And like me and like Maya Angelou, you probably won't recognize them along the way. In closing, here's a few takeaways as you embark on the next chapter of your life's journey. Believe in yourself. Have confidence. Find your champions and surround yourself with those who support and care for you. Pay your dues, but have courage and take risks. Have integrity. Have a sense of humor. Roll with change. It is a constant. Don't fight change. Get connected, join a professional, civic, or charitable group, and get involved. And always look for the opportunity that lies before you because it is often in disguise. Thank you again to the Dean for inviting me. It has truly been a privilege. And congratulations again, graduates. I wish you the greatest success as you embark on your journey. Thank you.
This is the fun part here. Will all of the master's degree candidates please move toward the stage? Jennifer Michelle Abbott. Megan Short Fannin. James Franklin Green. Libby Baisden Salyers. Shalane Danielle Tharp. Gary Joseph Van Devender. Jennifer Renee Wood. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Journalism Advertising please move toward the stage? Stacy Nicole Ackerman. Elizabeth Mary Claire Bruner. Robert Kane Chan. It's got a following. Colleen Elise Daly. Christopher Edward Davis. Jeffrey Joseph Dunn. Brittany Hahn. Charles Mitchell Holbrook. Sean Thomas McNamara. Daniel R. Moser. Rochelle Lynn Nicoletta. Jason Tyler Paris. Donald Richard Puglisi. Anne Catherine Wisba. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Journalism Broadcast News please move forward to the stage? Kyle Joseph Ackerman. Carly John Alexander. Kelly M. Baird. Amanda Beth Fawley. Casey J. Hott. Benjamin Matthew Katko. Katie Ann Lusso. Lisa Marie Malise. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Journalism News Editorial please move toward the stage? Haley Aaron Long. Robert Walling. Andrew Jason Little. Congratulations, man. Bradford Lee Davis. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Journalism Public Relations please move toward the stage? Caitlin Ann Barber. Lauren Elisa Biafra. Brandon Thomas Black. Connie Lucetta Cannon. Mara Catherine Dollard. Brittany June Duperry. Chelsea Angel Eckenrode. Christina Wright Exley. Okay. Ashley Nicole Fessler. Christopher William Fry. Erica Alexa Gonzalez. Melissa Dawn Myers. Samantha Ann Pakovich. Alyssa Ray Petropoulos. Chad Lee Rowland. Jenna Amico Thomas. Bonnie J. Thomas. Christina Elizabeth White. Mandy Jo Wingo.
Let's have a big hand for the December class of 2009. Now, while we recognize all of you today and all of you are special, we do also take a moment to recognize those students who have graduated or will be graduating with the highest grade point average in their programs. And so now I'm going to recognize those students. I'm going to ask each of you to come up and accept an award from the School of Journalism. So, for obvious reasons that you will see in a moment, I'm starting in reverse alphabetical order. So I'm going to call up the outstanding public relations graduate, Brittany June Duperry. Our top graduate in news editorial is Lindsay Caitlin Anderson. And Lindsay couldn't be with us today, but I wanted to acknowledge her. Our top graduate in the broadcast news sequence is Casey Hott. And last but not least, our top graduate in advertising is Robert, a.k.a. Robbie Chan. Now, we also, in December, select the top graduate. That is, of all of the students, that student who is graduating with the highest GPA overall, and that student happens to be, drum roll please, Robbie Chan. So, and Robbie, you get another special WVU momentum for your outstanding achievement.
Thank you.
The Mountaineer statue, which
you.
I'm sure you will treasure forever.
Thank you.
All right. We've started a tradition in December, and that is we ask the outstanding graduate to also say a few words to his class. And along the lines of those traditions, I'm going to ask Robbie to say a few words to the December class of 2009. Yeah. It's this thing. Push it up.
Okay. You know, when I was first asked to speak, I was not only honored, but I was ecstatic. Then I realized that I actually didn't have a clue as to what I was going to talk about. There was so much that I could say, so that I didn't really know where to begin. So I gave it some thought, and I thought that I would just take this opportunity to simply share some words of wisdom that I've accumulated over the years, and a good bit of that was while here at WVU. Now, I'm not going to try to call myself a wise person or anything along that line, but there's some awesome things that people have taught me throughout my life that I'd like to share with you. And I know a lot of you have probably had some things that people have taught you, and I'd love to hear what you all could tell me. So, you can email me any wonderful anecdotes or words of inspiration. My email address is chan.robertk@gmail.com, so send them my way. So, this past summer, I was living in Los Angeles, and it was really this summer that I realized how special the Mountaineer family truly is. You can go anywhere in the world, and if there's a fellow Mountaineer who knows you too are a WVU graduate, they'll more than likely make it a point to speak. For instance, I was walking this summer in Santa Monica, California, and a young man in an Escalade actually shouted out his window, "Let's go Mountaineers!" and pulled over to talk to me only because I had a WVU shirt on. He too was a WVU graduate and said he always made it a point to talk to another Mountaineer whenever he saw one. Here I was over 2,500 miles away from Morgantown, and someone had actually pulled over to talk to me just because I was wearing a gold and blue shirt with a flying WV. And I realized our school has a lot of pride. One of the things that I encourage all of you to do is to carry the memories you've made here. Look back on them, laugh, let them be the cure for a bad day, learn from them, let them be your wisdom in a bad situation. Most of us probably share memories of more fun, sentimental happenings like crazy nights downtown, or maybe for some of you, you don't recall those nights, and maybe for some, you prefer to put those nights behind you. Most of us have memories doing the first down chant at football games, sitting in Woodburn Circle during the fall, not being able to walk through campus for 5 minutes without seeing someone you know, and seeing Woodburn lit up during the holiday season. And of course, I couldn't leave this one out, my absolute favorite. We all have memories of those terrible times when the PRT broke down and made us late for class. But whatever your next steps are, remember what you have learned during your collegiate years. I do not mean only remember what you were tested on in class, but also remember the lessons and life experiences you have gained. I'm a firm believer that our university makes us all more open-minded people. And this is great, because the mind is like a parachute. It works better when it's open. We have likely met people from another country while here, met people from different locations across the U.S., and have undoubtedly met people with different perspectives in life. These interactions have hopefully shaped us into greater individuals than when we first arrived. We're all a lucky group who have had the opportunity of pursuing a college education, so run with it and hopefully use it to make the world a greater place for us all. As mass communicators, I believe we will all have the opportunity to do this. Whether this is accomplished by our news editorial professionals, exposing the wrongdoings of government, ensuring that we are all guaranteed our civil liberties, our public relations professionals working on behalf of the Red Cross, stressing the need for donations during a disaster, our broadcast journalists capturing the tragedy in Darfur, showing the public third world conditions, and last but not least, our advertisers creating awareness campaigns on how a large percentage of the world lacks clean drinking water. No matter what career path we have chosen, I believe at some point as mass communicators, we will all have the opportunity to make a difference. College life at times, and perhaps more so than not, is far from easy, and you may not have done as well as you wanted on a test, but we're all human. Don't beat yourself up over it. As long as you have worked to your full potential, that is all that matters. Learn, then be ready to tackle the next obstacle that comes your way. We all know this is a difficult time for those of us entering the workforce. We're not only competing against those who are graduating alongside us, but also those from 2008 and last spring's 2009 graduates. Although job prospects may look grim, I'm confident that our degrees mean something and that we will be competitive in the job market. I'm confident that our great faculty has prepared us well, and you may not get that first job, or the second, or the third, but stay with it. More opportunities will come. One of the most important things I think I've learned here is always keep your head up. When things don't look like they're going your way, hold on to your ambitions and goals. Do not let people talk you down or make it seem that your dreams are unobtainable. Like Bill Cosby said, in order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. Perhaps you will succeed, perhaps you won't, but at least you will know you have tried. And I can guarantee you the only sure way to not succeeding is to not try. Always remember to thank someone. I can remember President Hardesty during orientation freshman year. He said, look to the person to your left and look to the person to your right. He said, unfortunately, our statistics say one of you will not be here in 4 years. Well, guess what? You're not that person. You made it. You have accomplished something that is far from easy, and at times likely took words of encouragement from either roommates, mom, dad, a brother, sister, professors, work colleagues. Whoever that person was that gave you encouragement, or just that little boost of inspiration when you needed it, make sure you thank them. Fellow December graduates, we're now entering the final days of our undergraduate stretch. We now embark on a new journey. For some of us, this new journey means continuing education, entering the workforce, or perhaps joining a service organization. But whatever the next step, remember your time here at West Virginia University. I've been told by so many who have already graduated, these are the best years of our lives. And now, I challenge us all to go into the world and go after your dreams. Ask yourself 2 questions. What would you do if you knew you would succeed? What would you do? What would you do if you knew failure was not an option? Thank you.
Yes, another tall one. Robbie, by the way, is an aspiring actor who's already been in some television shows, and I think you all will recognize that he's going to go very far in this world. Finally today, as you leave WVU and the School of Journalism, I would like to impart some final words of advice based on my own life experiences and my observations as a member of the faculty for 17 years. And I promise to be short and to the point. First of all, as you enter the working world, be brave. Most of you are leaving the safety of the school environment for a new phase in your life. You're about to embark on a journey, and you've been given some idea of destination points, but nobody has given you a roadmap. Don't let anybody fool you. Your 20s are a challenging time as you figure out what you want to do, who you want to be, and how you want to live your life. And the liberating but also scary part of this is that these will be your decisions. No one else, not your parents, not your teachers, not your boyfriend or your girlfriend, can determine your future. But don't let the fear of the unknown paralyze you. Get started. Get moving. Take chances. Pursue one path, and if it doesn't pan out, find another way. If someone says no, find somebody else to say yes. And when you encounter challenges, don't run from them. Be tough. If you haven't figured it out already, life isn't for sissies. It's full of opportunity, but also difficulty, disappointments, and obstacles. How you handle these challenges will define your character and will determine ultimately how successful you can be. I'm going to tell you a very short story about myself. When I was growing up and I would whine to my mother about my various problems, she'd listen carefully, and then she would respond by saying, Marianne, you have 5 minutes to feel sorry for yourself. And I would get so mad. How insensitive, how uncaring. She has no idea what I'm suffering. But you know, as I get older, I've come to realize the wisdom in my mother's words. And by the way, you're going to recognize the wisdom in your parents' words the rest of your life. And that is, there is no use dwelling on your problems. The bottom line is you have to do something about it. Flash forward to a few years ago. My niece Maya, then in her 20s and a theater major at Tel Aviv University in Israel, came to me to complain that her school had refused to stage her play that she had written based on a Franz Kafka short story, Don't Ask. Anyway, she was going on and on about how terrible the school was and how this was going to ruin her life, etc., etc. And I listened carefully, and I finally said, Maya, buck up. If you want to do the play, figure out a way to do it. Well, sure enough, didn't she go ahead? Find an outside theater to stage her production with the promise of ticket sales. Get professional actors to star in her play for free. Get her mother to make costumes, her father to build the set, and her boyfriend, the long-suffering Sella, a musician, to write and perform the music. She put on that play, despite being told that she couldn't do it. And you can imagine what a confidence builder that was for her. And you know, since then, when her younger sister and her friends complain about their various problems and go on, what do you think she says? She says, buck up. So I've created a monster. And the reality is, I can't claim credit for Maya's success because she had it in her all along. But she had to hear somebody say, you can do it, get over yourself, do it. So being tough really helps, but you also have to be smart. And I'm not just talking about book smart, but being savvy, which means seeing the bigger picture and figuring out how you fit into it. You need to be an avid student of your profession, determine what is needed and how you can add value. And I think we certainly heard that from our graduation speaker today. Also from our graduation speaker, we learned that office politics is actually serious business. You have to know the trends, but you also have to know people. You also need to know your own strengths and your weaknesses, and you need to find a career that allows you to capitalize on those strengths. Which leads to another bit of advice, and that is you need to be yourself. Figure out what motivates you, what inspires you, what you love and what you hate. Find your own voice, your own passion. Be your own brand. If you're authentic in your work and your life, you will be seen as a leader and a role model, and people will gravitate to you. Sure, you need to adapt to the needs of the marketplace, but in the end, you also have to stay true to what you do best and what you believe in. Otherwise, I guarantee you, you won't be happy, and you probably won't be all that successful. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, you need to be loyal to your family, to your friends, to your various communities. And I'm not talking about your Facebook community. I'm talking about the connections that you make with real people whom you see and touch, who know you and love you, despite or even because of your faults, and who will always be there for you in good times and bad. Among those lines, consider the School of Journalism one of your communities and a part of your extended family. As you travel through life, remember, we're still here to help you, to guide you, and yes, when you need it, give you that good kick in the butt. And someday, when you make it big, you need to do the right thing and share your gifts with the next generation of P.I. Reed School of Journalism graduates. Come back, give back, pay it forward. Be like Jennifer Manton and so many others who have come before you. So, December class of 2009, good luck and buck up. Remember, this is your life, nobody else's. Make it matter. Congratulations, we'll miss you.